Oh, I got the lead on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And did Jasper?
All of us picked Tade, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just negating.
Jasper has
points.
not been in the top 3.
He has not. Okay.
Mads?
Nope.
Did I go 3 or 5?
Oh, we're going 5 down.
I think it's
right.
5.
5, yeah.
5, 3, 2, 1
Yeah.
is what I have.
So I got a
I
couple
just started doing
points.
the top 3 because I wasn't following that.
Oh, are we doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or 5?
It's 5, 3, 2, 1. Oh, so it's just top 4. You're right.
Yeah.
That was dumb of me.
Because stage
Set in stone.
Yeah. No turning back now. Oh, I don't.
2 was the
Michael Matthews hasn't done
No.
dick.
2. I think was the breakaway day
Oh, yeah.
where the Frenchman won.
I don't think anybody...
Oh, yeah. Nobody was big on their Arkea B&B.
3 was a sprint day where Germay won.
Yeah.
Dilly
Dilly
got
got
third. Okay, so that's
So I've got
2.
2, 4, and then today,
Did anyone else cry
Tade
when
got
Vermeil
5.
Anybody else what?
I'm at
Cry.
9 points.
Cry?
won? When Vermeil-
Oh, that was awesome. I was
What?
happy for
Wait,
him.
what?
Cool.
Cry for
his,
what?
His interview afterwards.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Who?
I wasn't able
Germay.
to see it.
Yeah, Germay.
No,
Vinny
I didn't
Germay.
see it.
He broke down in tears.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just like it's so important. This is something I dreamed about.
Oh,
when
yeah.
I
It
was
wasn't
a
for
kid.
me. It's.
Yeah, he goes, I always wanted to be in the tour. I just didn't
Yeah.
think it was obtainable. Here I am, blah, blah, blah.
Did Roglic get third today? Primoz?
No, Remco.
Oh, Ayuso did.
Ayuso.
Ayuso got third.
Dude was flying
Yes.
with
Yeah,
how
he
much
was.
he put into that.
Actually, Roglic got 4th, I think.
I
means
was
I have
watching
plus?
it live.
What?
Had to walk into work right as it was finishing at like 8:05.
Yep.
Right, probably when it finished, I had to walk into work because I started at 8.
Don't spoil the show because I got some fucking problems that I want
Or,
to
well,
talk
I haven't seen the end of the stage.
Yeah.
I know how I can imagine how it played out because I saw the
Yeah,
top
yeah,
of the
yeah.
climb.
And that pretty well, yeah. There's
So I
some
wanna
He
read
ended up
out
with
how it
like
went.
30 some seconds.
Yeah.
Plus the time bonuses.
God.
Two time bonuses.
Yeah, over
At the top of the
Top of the
mountain
Galibier
and
and
at
the
the
finish.
Yeah.
So he's almost up by a minute.
Is that what it is?
He's 45 on Remco, 50 on Jonas.
Jonas looked.
But all it takes is one
Yeah.
bad day,
Yeah.
like he had last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
He thought he was his conversation. He was called his car when he fell apart. He says, "Am I out of the top 10?" That's how bad he felt.
Who did?
Uh,
Jonas?
Remco.
Remco.
No,
Oh.
Tade.
Tade. Last year when
last,
he
yeah.
blue, he thought he was out of the top 10. The way he came in, he says, "Where am I? Am I out of the top 10?"
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I? You guys ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's time for changes. The pre-show reads are a thing of the past. I'm not going to start a show with before we begin anymore. That was my moment of silence for before we begin. Time to put them into the show to specific spots. So now you don't have to fast forward through the first 2 minutes of the show. I will, however, mention that when in each and every one of you subscribe to our podcast as well as our YouTube channel, things look better and better for all things Packfiller. So tell a friend, because friends don't let friends listen to not funny podcasts hosted by questionable characters. Yeah, that one should drive home. Hopefully you get it. Well, my mouse is a little slow. I gotta have to go old school and hit it with the keyboard. Thank God I have multiple methods of doing things. It was a little hot. Theme's still coming. Say it's coming.
I love this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's classic.
Yeah.
When did you get this from, Lance?
I have had this one for probably
15?
Yeah, it's been a while.
15 years. Yeah.
2015.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
Oh,
15
2015.
years.
Probably 2015. Probably around then. I think. God, I don't know.
How long have you been on the show?
I think it became
2017
regular
or 2016?
17.
Yeah.
17, 18 was, I think my first visit was September of 17, and then 18 pretty much almost
Started in 1999, everybody. The tour is underway and things couldn't be more exciting. Oh, wait, you've been watching on Peacock? Well, I guess things could be a bit more exciting then. This is the longest surviving podcast to cover life on two wheels. This is the Packfiller Cycling Podcast. I am your host. My name is Pat Bulger. And with me are the panel of experts, opinions, and the best pedaling pundits out there. Want to meet them? overall standings. Tonight's prologue question is, what is a movie that you haven't seen yet that you really want to? What's on your to-watch list? I'm pausing because Paul just... You can't say, like, Top Gun 4.
Oh,
it
it's
doesn't
in
exist.
the making.
Is it really?
Top Gun 3 is.
It's got to be... Shit, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. You ready?
No.
Yeah, I don't have an answer because I don't go to movies.
Just go to Top Gun
I just
3.
wait for things to
Just,
pop
I
up.
mean, even on Netflix or anything like that.
BritBox
Yeah,
or-
BritBox, anything you just want to... Like, ooh, I want to see that. Okay.
I don't know. There's, my wife and I. She always says, "Check this out," because we do like independent films, and there's a small little theater called Magic Lantern.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, we get a feed and says, "Hey, that looks good," so we go.
You guys
But
are
I
so
don't
hip.
think we search out to find a movie. We just, does that look good? Yeah, and then we'll.
Really?
That's how we do it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's Paul's answer, and
Yep.
he's the best promoter of the podcast, Mr. Paul Mann. That was my intro for him, but he jumped the gun.
Yeah.
Next off, he is the worst at giving on the bike directions.
Oh,
Mr.
it's gonna
Sam
haunt me.
Wavels. Hey,
Yeah.
where's the Centennial Trail? Oh, first you gotta
Crash over your
I can't-
crash over your
Yeah,
teammate's
yeah.
wheel. You know, I thought like, what do you think that guy was thinking?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna follow your directions.
Yeah, I know. He's like, I'm gonna
What a
go
bunch
the
of
other way.
morons.
He just
Yeah.
They
tiptoed
just
away.
stacked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go this way.
He just tiptoed away.
on
I think
up.
he's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
oh
Oops.
shit.
Did
Yeah.
I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My fault. Mr. Sam Waples, how are you, man?
I'm good. Yeah. I think Dune 2. That's the first one that comes to my mind.
Oh.
I haven't seen it yet, and I know, like, I mean,
Yeah.
I watched Dune 1, thought it was a great film. It's on the docket, just haven't had time.
I can't wait to hear your opinion. I have
Yeah?
seen it.
Yeah.
I have seen it.
I've heard good and bad things.
My
It's
wife
long.
leaves for the weekend, and I usually just pick off my list of movies, and that was one that I saw.
Did you ever watch Nobody with
Yes.
Bob Odenkirk?
I own it.
Incredible,
I've seen it probably
right?
15 times.
There's a second one coming out.
What?
Yeah.
God, I hope they don't ruin it.
They couldn't.
They could.
It's Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah, that's true. Bob wouldn't let them. Brilliant. Comedic mind, by the way. Comedic mind. Before any of the Better Call Saul things. Brilliant comedic mind. Next off, he is the best at not killing someone who cuts him off and crashes him in a crit, Mr. Jackson Bolger.
Yes. Hello.
We will get to that.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I bet.
How are you, man?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feeling
Feeling
good?
good. Yeah.
The grass stains wash out?
For the most part, there's a little brown, a teeny tiny, like you have to look for it, brown in the E of Arrivee on my leg.
Oh, okay.
And then a little teeny tiny, like, swipe you can see on the sleeve, the left sleeve. But it's spray and washed, and
Yeah.
it didn't tear.
Yeah.
That was, well, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. What's a movie that's on your list?
It's funny you mentioned Dune. I'm not a big movie guy, I've realized. I like some
You like
movies.
docuseries?
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah,
big
I like-
docu-series guy.
really cool.
Which I haven't gotten into the
Call
tour
back.
one. I have so many things to watch right now with the tour and everything going on. But I am more like a series type of guy. But I haven't seen any of the Dunes, and I read half the first book, I would say.
Yeah.
And it's a weird, rough read. So I would love to see both of them
Really?
Yeah.
at some point.
I like the first.
I will refrain from my personal opinions of
Yeah.
those movies.
You're
Yeah.
actually a critic, though.
Yeah.
Like, you have that mindset. I go into it, and I just kind of want to be entertained.
Yeah.
It's kind of why
Yeah.
I love Top Gun.
Yeah. Top Gun Maverick.
Maverick.
Yeah.
And Top Gun.
Me, I am apparently the worst person to be around after a race goes badly. Because my wife told me, and I hope I'm not throwing your wife under the bus, Jackson, by saying this, but we finished the crit, and apparently my wife was asked, "Is he going to be mad now?"
You become a real bitter Betty.
I'm a little asshole.
Yeah.
I'm
I
apparently a diva bitch who's
Yeah.
like, I'll be in my trailer. It didn't go my way. I didn't win. I am Pat Bolger. I want to see Alex Garland's Civil War, the A24 movie that is like a modernized Civil War, like it happens today or very shortly in the future. So I think that'd be a good one. I've been watching a lot of the A24 movies. I just watched Pearl the other day, which is a very interesting yet mildly disturbing movie. I don't know if you guys seen any of the ones. Hereditary, don't watch Hereditary unless you're ready for it.
Midsummer was one of theirs too, right?
Midsummer, yeah.
I haven't seen that one. I just know what happens.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Those aren't for me.
They're good, but they're messed up. They will F your brain.
You don't need more psychoses to keep you up at night.
No, I just like watching people worse off than me.
No, yeah. That makes sense.
So I can sit
That's
back
healthy.
and go, wow, that's really messed up. Night, everybody.
At least I'm better than him.
Yeah.
Well, we have the tour to get to. We have our topic, and of course, we have a couple segments. But first, we need to recap our cycling lives with tonight's. I'm going to just call it the back pedal. I think I'll just call it the back pedal. Sam, as you were unable to come play with us away from home this weekend, we will start with you. How's your cycling life been over the past 7 days? You did mention when you came in that you're suffering from an ear infection.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, dang it.
But
Yeah.
has that affected your cycling life?
Yeah, in a way that okay. No, this is all there really is to talk about. I did that Wednesday race after the last time that you guys we convened.
Yeah.
Did that. That's it. But I will say a lot of that was because of the whole issue that I had with bikes.
Oh,
at the
yeah.
time. Got that all resolved, so I'm back on the road. I'm ready now. But my seat post did I think that was the crack because I got a new seat post, put that all in, and it seems good. So back on the road. Yeah. So I'll be back now.
Are we putting a Band-Aid on things?
On my butt. Yeah.
No, I mean on your bike.
Oh.
Metaphorically speaking. I understand there's probably a Band-Aid on your butt.
Yeah. That's still there. No, but I would say I'm still in the market for a new bike. Yeah. But hopefully, I just don't want to be pressured into you need to get a bike right now because I don't want to miss out on the summer season, riding with you guys and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I was kind of
that's okay.
Shit. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You
don't mind?
You can skip it.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm gonna rip your legs off for that.
There it is.
It doesn't take much. I'm 61.
I know. I'll come back and pour some Pedialyte in your bottle for you. I'll keep you going.
Thanks.
I wonder if that'd be a benefit.
It would. It would.
Jackson, Paul, and I headed over to the west side for the Everett Performance Omnium, a.k.a. the EPO.
Mm-hmm.
Good joke. For those of you unaware, think of it as Paul said it great, it's like a Northwest version of Tulsa Tough. 3 races over 1 weekend, all Omnium style.
There were 3?
There were 3 for the 1-2s pros.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a Friday night.
I did not do the 3.
Yeah. There was a Friday night, there was a Saturday, and there was a Sunday. And so there was 2 for the rest of us mortals. Yeah.
God dang it. I'm so mad that I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what? Okay.
All located in various locations in and around the city of Everett, Washington. Saturday's race also served as the district championships for seniors and masters. So we all went there with, sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns in our eyes, and went home with lumps of coal and grass stains. Before we get into the racing, I would like to discuss the event, the promotion, and the overall feel of the weekend. I think that's something we could do on the show, when we go to a race and experience it and provide that feedback and things like that. So of the 3 of us who were there, Sam, you can just go take a piss or whatever you want. Let's talk about the courses, the locations, and the quality of the roads. What did you guys, from the experiences of where we were, what we were doing? Now, I will confess that Paul and I, how do I want to put this?
Bailed
on Sunday's race.
So I'll comment on that one.
Yeah. I did walk Sunday's course. I didn't race Sunday just because I really don't have an excuse.
You're
just butthurt. I was just being a little
bitter
bitch.
Betty.
Yeah, I was a little whiny little punk.
Yep, a little pab.
And then as I don't even know what that means. But as I watched the race, I got more and more upset with myself, which I think is a good thing in the long run because that means the demons haven't gone away and I need to do more of that. But so the courses, the locations, the quality of the roads. We were not able to witness Friday's race. From what I've seen online, it looked like it was more of a downtown location, and it looked like it was, very kind of
Pretty cool.
Yeah, very, inside the heart of the community kind of a thing, that twilight feel to it. The last races were pretty late into the evening. So that just looked like it was a freaking party, and I kind of wish we could have been a part of that. But Saturday, which was the official district championships for us, I'll let somebody jump in before I just start to explain my life away.
Really cool location. It was
Beautiful homes.
Yeah.
Holy.
Really nice
good
neighborhood.
God, yeah.
It was, I would say, was that Seaside? Or was that where we were? Yeah, it was pretty. It was very
just
close.
up the hill from it.
Yeah, very close to the ocean. You could just see it from the park we were kind of, that main drag was on. And it had, it was a pretty fast race. First of all, the course was not very long.
Four corner.
Yeah, four corner with a ripping downhill. And at the bottom of that, you hit full speed, is a pretty tight corner, and the road gets small at the corner, and then it kind of widens as you go up this little kicker. It was fun. It was a little bit freaky at some points because I hit 45 miles an hour going down that hill.
Did you really?
Yeah, and it was. I thought the location was really cool. The course was challenging.
It shredded every race.
Mm-hmm.
It did.
There were very few that weren't won on a breakaway.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't any, I don't think.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't see how the 1-2 Pro 1-2s, but
Yeah.
everything that we watched, and I think that was up
Yeah.
after your race. So,
Small breaks,
anyway.
like 2, 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's because the
Four
corners were
riders.
so
Yeah.
technical.
Yeah.
I mean, not so technical, but that created.
Yeah, there was a technical corner.
Yeah, one was really.
Yeah. It was cool though that they had food trucks present. This one, I will also say, felt very professional.
Yeah, absolutely.
As along with the next days, but we're not
Hard
onto that
hard
yet.
fencing in the finish stretch.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just
Orange tape flapping in the wind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Hard fencing along the final stretch, and
with the little feet that stick out.
Yeah.
they
But
were
they were
low.
up on the-
they were ground level.
Yeah,
And
no,
they
they
were
were
on
up on the curb, so
Yeah.
it wasn't on part of the
Oh.
course.
No, I mean the
That's
feet didn't
awesome.
stick out.
Yeah.
They were kind of on. They were along the ground. They're
Yeah, they were
90 degrees.
flat.
They're parallel to the ground. So
Yeah.
it was good there. Roads were. I thought the roads were smooth. From what I saw, both courses, the roads were pretty smooth. There was a janky sewer cover that people were talking about on Sunday.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, are we getting on to Sunday's
No,
course yet?
well,
Okay.
I guess no. We can jump around. If you want, yeah, hit it.
I mean, unless we want to talk about quality of field first. Do we want
No.
to talk about fields?
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Okay. For Sunday's course, it was this one was really fun. It was, I think, Paul, how many did we say it was? 8 corners or 6 corners?
6 corners.
Yes, 6 corners. 6 corners, kind of in an L shape. You start out on kind of a long, I would say 2-block drag. And
God, it was longer than that, but yeah.
Yeah, 2 or 3, however long it was. It with a pretty strong headwind on the day because the weather was kind of iffy. And then the first right turn you take, it off cambers a little bit, and it starts to kick. It starts to kick up it's a slight drag for a block, and then the next block is like a full on 6%
Yeah.
kicker.
For a short amount of time, though. For
Maybe
probably
half a block.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And then you start, once you get to the top of that, it kind of lines out for a block, and then it starts to go downhill. You take a right that starts going downhill, a left that starts going downhill, and the manhole covers were the theme of this race, especially when it's wet. You really had to be careful of that. I mean, I think it was our first lap. We were going into the last 2 corners, which created an interesting bike handling challenge, which I thought was kind of fun. It changed surface. So it went from regular tarmac to those cement
Concrete slabs. Yeah.
big cement slabs with grass in the middle. And so you had to pick your line very carefully. You couldn't hit the manhole covers because first lap, 2 guys went down right in the front. And so everybody kind of had to watch out for that. You had to make sure your front wheel didn't get caught in one of the cracks and everything. So it was I like to say a thinky crit.
Okay.
which was kind of fun.
Thinky.
Yeah, you had to think a lot.
Yeah, no, I like that.
You think a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You had to think not just about where you were, but in the pack, but where you were on the physical road itself.
Yeah.
So this was a really fun course. You could get really flowy, especially once you figured out how to take those corners. You could take the wide line on some of these corners, which I thought was really interesting. And sometimes you can make up spots because the speed, they would cut this. A lot of these racers in my field would hit the brakes so hard on the inside corner that you'd be able to whip around the outside and continue your speed, which is what I found out near the end.
Yeah. That was what I noticed about Saturday was, and I guess I'll probably talk about this a little later on, about the vast, and this is going to sound condescending and douchey, but the vast skill set of people who feel comfortable in a proper 90-degree corner. I'm not saying I'm great at it, but there were some people who, on Saturday, Paul and I were talking about this on a ride today. On Saturday, there was a person I was with who would not pedal between turn 3 and turn 4, which was a city block downhill. And so I'd start to go around this person, and then I'd get almost past them right by the time we hit the corner. So I'd almost be riding them out wide into the corner, but it's like, come on, man, let's go, but anyway, yeah, we can bitch our way to the end of the world. How about the organization itself? I would give Ryan and the crew thumbs up for sure. An A for that. I thought it was well organized. There were USA. Phil Miller was there. I mean, Phil's a legend, man. And Phil's been doing this for almost as long as. I think the wheel was invented and Phil got his license. So the dude's just been doing it forever, and he knows his shit. And I thought it was a well run, well done event. Jackson had a short row with the timing guy. He accused him of being nefarious.
Oh yeah, on Thursday, so the night before the Friday races, I was looking at the fact that for state champs, my category, I wouldn't be able to race for it if I was registered for the 2s, 3s. And so I thought that, and also I would maybe like to race at like a pace that I know I might be comfortable at. And I'm using might here very, very specifically. So I got in touch with our race director, Ryan, and just talked to him about it. And so I was able to switch from the 2s, 3s to the 3s, 4s, Omnium. And that didn't get switched in time, and that's because I emailed them at probably their busiest time of their year. So I don't put any blame on anybody, but it was just a mix up of, you're not in this race, what are you doing out there? And officials are very officials kind of think that I'm probably the strongest man in the world. I'm speaking as them, not as me. So we had a little bit of a conversation. He started out pretty aggressive, and I as if you know me personally, I am not very much one to raise my voice, but it got to a point where I raised my voice and I scared him, and we figured it out.
Well, I do want to mention on the side that this gentleman is not an official. This gentleman is a timer.
Exactly. So I that's true.
And you can get more flies with honey than you can with salt or vinegar, or I don't know the phrase, but the catchphrase. But my word of advice to this gentleman is, and I understand, I have been on the back end, I have been on that side, and I have a tendency to, when people come up to me and start giving me shit, to just immediately flow them shit back. It is sometimes far easier to just go up on a little bit more soft edge of things. And this person, I think, stares at a lot of computer screens all the time, and it's probably that IT mentality. It's like, oh, well, you idiot, turn it off and turn it on again. So that I if it were me, you handled it far better than I did.
Yeah, I like I just said, we had a conversation. One of us had to take charge of the conversation. Yeah. And then we never spoke again. So that's what it is. It's no fault to the
I'd have been all, like, bring it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't want to.
I will tear this shit down.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to blame the event though. That was just one individual who got mad.
Absolutely not. That was.
And Ryan and I also talked about it too. And so,
good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, good dude.
Yeah, I like the guy. Brian, actually, I went in to sign in, and he actually came and approached me and stuff and said,
Really?
introduced. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he apologized for having the 60 plus with the 40 plus fives and fours. But the way he said WSBA, we had to have, it had to be mixed that way or whatever. Yeah. I don't understand all that, but it has to be. That's the way it has to be. So I just said, it doesn't bother me.
That brings me to the quality of the racing.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Well, for me, the guys that I saw at RC3 were the same ones that I saw in my category, in my age group.
Sure.
And I thought, God, my legs through the whole race. There was a break that I was in with two guys that I thought, this is a done deal because I know these guys. This is going to happen. But it was too early, and so everybody had, like the fours and fives at 40 plus chased us down. They have the right to do that, and so that shut it down. And so I went back just to grab some air and stuff, and that's when a couple of attacks went, and I went, oh, crap, I'm in the wrong spot. I couldn't hit it. Yeah. And I tried to bridge a couple of times, on the backside because of the corners 3 and 4, but I didn't have the strength, and I don't have the fitness. I don't. And, those guys walked away 1-2. Yeah. And then I was in the pack for sprinting for third. But when we got back, we looked at GC Racing, who did the scoring. Yeah. And they had the average speed of the winner. For 60 plus, it was 30.3 miles an hour.
It's not very fast.
So, the thing is
you might not have heard the right number in your ear.
Yeah. I'm only running off of one ear.
Yeah. That's right. 15.1. No, that's only half.
That's only half.
Yeah. But I mean, all the speeds were way up there. So I'm thinking, no wonder I felt like, God, I can't get my legs underneath because, to be honest with you, when we race even out at the Raceway Park, we're not hitting those speeds. No. Not at all. And especially with that technical corner, if all it takes is one guy because you're dropping down like Jackson said, 40, 45 miles an hour into that corner, and it's pretty narrow. All it takes is one person to hit the brake, and I kept getting behind people. A couple of times I was in the right spot, but if you kind of just let go and just I'm just going to grab, now you're stuck. And so you come out of the corner and you're sprinting to get on. By the time you get back on to where you get a draft, you're going up the hill. Yeah. And the guys in front have already kept their tempo. Everything's the same. You've accelerated, 900, 1,000 watts, and then you got to keep it going up. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, it's just like dying of 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
So, but Ryan, I thought he did a great job. I think, hopefully, that format with a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I hope it's 6. So cool. I want to do it next year.
Yeah.
And Ryan, if you're listening, please announce it earlier because I will have that on my calendar.
Yeah.
It's not, and I don't. It's just like, and maybe he
absolutely.
Did.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Maybe he did announce it earlier, and that's just on me for missing it. But I didn't see it anywhere.
So we're all going back.
I'm down.
Oh yeah,
100%.
I already told my wife.
If you had to give it a grade,
I would give it a. I mean, I don't have any complaints. I'd just give it an A.
I would too.
Because of you do have some issues with dealing with like 60. If it was just 60 plus, there would only be 13 of us out there. So I don't mind having a bigger group, and it does add strange dynamics. I know who to mark. Yeah. And for those who race in mixed categories like that, I know they complain, and maybe that breakaway would have worked early on with not having the 40s, but who cares? That's part of bike racing. I think it's kind of cool.
I don't care until a Cat 1-2, who should be winning a combined category.
Don't you know that guy?
I'm just gonna. Oh God, that drives me crazy, dude. You should be the fastest on the day. If you're not the first across the line here, you're fucking last. You're 2. Anyway, go on.
Jackson, you had a good field size.
Yeah, mine was pretty big for the state champs on Saturday. And it
made me think of old days of bike racing.
This was the biggest field that I've ever ridden. Yeah. What would you say, 40, 50
40, riders? 45, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was going to count. But
Yeah, that was a big field for me. And going into it, I lined up and I thought an okay position. I think I was second row, which was great. But I was listening to Paul the whole time. Well, not the whole time, but I was thinking of what Paul said the whole time before the race, which was try and, stay towards the front, the upper third. And then it started, and it never let up. This was probably the fastest race that I've ever ridden.
Very few breather moments.
Yeah. For a 3s/4s race, this was like just full gas the entire time, and it really felt that way. I was telling my wife on our way back, I was like, this one felt so fast, and I 100% think it's because of that district champion.
There's a lot at stake.
Yeah, there was a lot at stake, and so I just felt like I could never really get my legs under me or never really get into it. And so I got about 30 minutes in, and I was like, there is no more moving up. This is survival. And so I really just kind of held on for dear life. A lot of the times it was tough for me to figure out lines because with that mixed category, sometimes you have riders that don't feel very comfortable hitting those corners at high speeds. And I felt that there were a lot of braking into certain corners or during the corners, which is tough. But I was really proud of myself that I finished with the pack. I got 19th, and I had looked at the entire finishing list, and there was genuinely a second page of our finishers that were DNFs.
Yeah.
That many, like a whole page, were given to the people who were pulled out of the race. So I felt very proud of myself that I finished in the top 20.
Yeah.
That was a big challenge. Honestly, like one of the fastest and hardest races I've ever participated in.
Another notch to the belt.
Yeah. What do you guys equate to the Zwift effect? We've got a lot of incredibly strong people out there.
I think
this is going to sound like an elitist douchebag thing to say, but you've got a lot of people, and Paul and I were talking about this again on the ride today, that you've got people who rise quickly because they spend a lot of time on Zwift, or that's where they found cycling was on Zwift, and they can massively crank out the watts, but they don't have the wherewithal, the ins and outs, the proper braking, the cornering techniques and things like that. Is that just going to be a part of the sport from here on out?
It's funny because my wife and I were really talking about this a lot yesterday. She goes, because I will get on to this, the reason why this came up a little bit later when we talk about Sunday's race. But she goes, so as a junior, how do you practice for these type of things? And I was like, that's such an interesting question.
Yeah.
Because how do you practice to hit a corner at 45 miles an hour? You just kind of race.
Yeah.
To practice it. So it's one of those things where it's like, to get into it, you have to just do these things.
Yeah.
Which is such a difficult path because it's so different from every other sport. You don't just go out there and, for instance, in soccer, you don't go out there and practice a corner in cycling.
Yeah.
You don't have that type of situations. You have to do training races, which is really kind of a weird concept, I find.
And that's what I think put the three of us on our heels when we went over there, because we've been racing per se.
Yeah.
But crit racing is a different beast. 90-degree corners, just accelerating out of 90-degree corners, pack mentality and moving up and in and out is different compared when you're comparing a 4-corner 30-mile-an-hour crit to a circuit race, which is what our weekly race is. We do have some corners where you have to, heaven forbid, maybe think about not pedaling. And I'm not bashing what we do here in town, but actual 4-corner criterium racing is such a different beast altogether. And I noticed it immediately. I mean, that we were the three of us were all caught back going, oh man, these people have been going hard and fast for a long time. This year. Yes,
I will say I agree until I want to make the segue to the next day.
Do it.
So the next day was a interesting one because it started to rain a little bit earlier in the day, and so I was very on the idea of I'm a little bit nervous because I don't want to crash. Funnily enough, crazy stuff happened. So this one I just wanted to put the first day behind me because I was like, I'm super happy that I even participated and stayed and didn't get pulled out. So I was just like, super job on that.
It's such a Eeyore thing. Thanks for having me.
Well, I was I was genuinely really proud of that because that was such a that was a hard race.
It was fast.
But on Sunday, I was just I think I was in a different mentality of like I just want to compete for this one, and it was a bit of a smaller pack on Sunday, and we start out and
it looked like you guys had in the 30s.
Yeah, which was honestly a great size. We started out and it was fast, but it wasn't quite as fast. I think we had to focus a little bit more on where to turn, how to take each line. And as the race went on, I started to feel really comfortable, honestly. I really felt like that first day really like kind of numbed my nerves a little bit of like, am I freaked out of taking a corner at full speed? These guys are really close to me. And it was just, a lot of things went through my head. There were points when people would close in on me and the physicality started. So I would have to bump elbows with people, which was something I found really interesting because earlier in the year,
and they didn't grab your hand and swear at you and tell you were, they didn't curse your babies or something like that. Yeah.
Well, it just shows, it just shows the comfort level.
This is normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is what's normal. Instead, like you're bumping up against people and it's like,
don't ever touch
I'm
me
here.
again. Yeah, instead of that. Yeah.
Because I bumped up with two guys who started to kind of close in on me, and I stuck both elbows out. And one guy, we both put our elbows out, we felt the tension in our arms, and then we let off.
Yeah.
And we didn't say a thing.
Which is how you're supposed to do it.
Exactly. And then another guy was like, oh, you're throwing elbows, huh? And I was like, okay, just relax, dude.
Yeah.
But I talked to the other guy. I was like, you good? He's like, yes.
You don't want to see me throw elbows.
I will throw an elbow up your asshole.
But that shit happens in racing. But as the race went on,
prostate exam with my elbow.
As the race went on,
This makes me so excited.
As the race went on, I did begin to notice there was a certain one of the riders who really squirrely with his bike. When he would stand up, the whole thing would snake.
He wobbled the bars. He's a bar wobbler.
I'm not talking bar wobble. I'm talking like he would take up probably 5 feet side to side when he would stand up, and he would sway the bike. He would cut people off. He chopped, I think, 4 or 5 people's wheels. He hit my bars coming by me at one point completely unnecessarily. Like there was so much room, and he just clipped my bar, and I had to like stabilize the bike. I come to find out this guy's a junior. So, yeah.
And he got second place on Saturday.
Did
in
he?
your group.
Yeah. So
He's the one we were talking about.
Yeah. No, different kid. Different
Really?
guy.
Was it?
Totally
Yeah.
different guy.
He
100%
was a junior
different guy.
also.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
1,000% different dude.
And-
Yeah, this guy.
yeah, I had a couple of moments where I was like, whoa, buddy. I even was like, holy shit, because there were some points he would come by me, and I was like, you're going to crash a lot of us out, buddy.
Yeah.
Comes into last lap, and I am like in the zone. I was 5th or 6th, I
You
think.
were right in there going into that last lap.
I was 5th or 6th, and we take corner 1, and I am just ripping it. And I like take that corner perfectly. I get back up to where I was supposed to be, and we're going up the climb, and I actually start making up even more places into like 3rd or maybe even 4th. And this junior decides to take a very irresponsible line, and he cuts up the inside and hits the manhole cover and goes wide, so wide to where he almost hits my front tire. And I hit a curb, and I try to keep it up, but I in that moment have to make the decision: am I going to take myself out or the whole field out?
Whole
Yeah.
field.
Yeah, take the whole field,
Sweep
screw 'em
'em.
all.
Burn them all.
Yeah,
Easy.
he took such a dangerous line at such a different speed than the rest of the pack, and to come that wide and that fast, it was just like you're gonna cause some real damage.
Yeah.
I'm happy it was only me, because and even like old soccer mind kicked in, because I knew how to. It was grass where I fell, and so nothing got hurt. I scraped a little bit of the front wheel, and that was it. But I knew how to slide. I like kind of held my elbow out. I didn't hit my head. So it was honestly best case scenario for how a crash would have went. My knee kind of hurts now, and I like feel it in my shoulder and my hip. But
Ryan did mention that he's going to go to that individual house and thank them for the lush thickness of their parking grass.
Yeah, it was honestly, it was perfect. And I got up, a guy behind me was like, you good? I was like, yeah, I'm finishing this damn thing. And so I went through, I finished the whole race. Did not want a DNF. And then I finished. I was kind of mad. I started swearing. You were there for it, Dad.
It was very. It wasn't swearing.
You were proud.
But I wanted to mention that I found
people in Renton, 80 miles away, weren't going, Jesus, who's swearing so much?
Yeah. But one thing I did want to mention, which
not my son,
not your son.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to mention, which made me kind of recognize that said individual understood what they did, was they didn't take a lap of the course. They went right to their van, got dressed, and they were out of there. I'm not kidding. In 30 minutes.
I was watching that vehicle.
Yes.
And this person, changed in the car, came out once, got in the car, they drove away.
Yes. So they did not even think to go anywhere.
But with that being said, I hope there were enough people who had mentioned this rider because, yes, emotions get high. People don't become better cyclists unless they
get yelled at.
And yes and no. Yes and no. You know what? I'm sorry. We got to get to the point in the world where it's okay to call somebody out on their flaws and their mistakes. Yeah. Everybody's just like, "Oh, quit being so mad. Don't mansplain to me." I'm like, "Dude, you fucked up. Can I talk to you about how you fucked up?" Mm-hmm. And we have to be able to go back to that. Everybody's not a golden little rainbow, an individual snowflake and sunshine. It's we all make mistakes. I have made mistakes. Everybody's made mistakes. You need to find out how to learn from said mistakes. You don't get in your car and drive away. Mm-hmm. I hope that this person had somebody speak to them and say, "You got to work on controlling yourself."
Insignificant little shit.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. But I hope there was that opportunity for this rider to learn.
Yeah.
Because I've seen, when I talk about the bar weavers, the people who sprint like that, and they're doing that, and they're adding 1K to every 1K they cover because they're swerving so much. That is an over enthusiastic person who thinks it looks cool, whereas they're wasting energy. Propelling themselves forward. That is a surefire sign to try to find somebody. I hope there's somebody in this person's life who's telling them, you got to tweak this. You got to adjust this. You got to not do this. You got to, because
you could cause some real harm.
Somebody's going to get hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody could have gotten hurt.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for grass, I would have been pretty hurt.
Yeah. And skin suits are expensive.
Yeah. But I did want to say something that was really cool from both races was at no point did anybody look at each other and just like size each other up and go, "You suck, I'm better than you."
Yeah.
You could tell there was very much mutual respect. Like everybody,
that's cool.
Nobody at any point thought that somebody was better than the other person. Like if anybody made a move, they followed it hard. Yeah. So I felt like, especially that second day, that I really like belonged in that pack, and that was something that was super cool.
Mm-hmm. That is great to hear. A short recap of my weekend. I don't felt like I belong. Let's move to the next phase. We might not have local races for a while, but we have a brilliant Tour de France underway with 4 lead changes in 4 stages. 4 lead changes in 4 stages, and some surefire drama unfolding. So tonight's tour coverage. Oh, I got to do this now.
Oh, that's great.
Bonjour.
A baguette.
I can't say baguette. Pierre baguette. My Pierre baguette. Apparently my French is not so good. I've been told that my French needs work. Tonight's tour coverage is brought to us by our support from our friends at Scratch Labs. Fuel, hydration, flavor, and so much more. Summer is here, and plain water ain't going to cut it, boys and girls. You should be hydrating properly with the great products that Scratch has invented, tested, and proven on the roads and trails. Use our link today. Get on the Scratch train. So after 4 stages... Did you guys not know? Spoiler alert, Tadej Pogacar has not only thrown down the gauntlet, but has come prepared to double his way to the history books. I'm sure we all have him as a winner. We all have him as one of our picks, right? Mm-hmm. So in other words, those points are all going to be negated. But what are your thoughts on who can challenge? Especially after what we saw today. We saw an incredible attack on the Galibier with an incredible team performance by UAE. And then... who did we see that was chasing? Who did we see that you think maybe there's a chance? Or is this all a matter of who's going to be on the second and third step of the podium? Are we thinking that already?
I mean, I think we thought that before.
last
Like
year.
before it even started.
We did
Yeah.
last
Like it
year
was-
with Toddy when he was in yellow. We thought it was,
Yeah.
like he's not going to get caught. Yeah,
So in other words,
yeah.
they
You
could
never
get
know.
caught.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I really think that Jonas is the only one that is like even capable of putting up a fight. But I just think that it's the same thing that we were talking about before. He's coming off an injury, and that tube of toothpaste is going to wear out by the later stages.
You think so?
I mean, you have to admit he has been doing a good job on these first 4 stages. He has been doing a good job considering everything he has been there. But I think that is going to fade. So,
Anybody else?
It's hard to say right now because we have seen this happen a lot in the past 2 tours where Tadej takes it early and then Jonas waits for those long, really long climbs.
Yeah.
And that's where he can kind of take advantage. But I think we might see a different version of Tadej than we've seen for a while. I think he's a little bit more conservative in certain areas. I think that his team, like the team performance, I remember I was watching today and I was like, wow.
Ayuso got third on the stage
Yeah.
after busting his balls to get.
that team is going so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that, I mean, Sivakov was up there, great signing.
Yeah.
Phenomenal signing. But then behind Sivakov is Juan Ayuso, Adam Yates, and Joao Almeida.
Yeah.
The fact that all of those riders are still there to support him, and we saw that
All our team leaders.
yeah, all team leaders, and then we saw that we got to a point where those 3 riders were still with Tadej, but Jonas was isolated.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what's really going to tell the story of this year's tour. I am happy to see that Primoz is still in the mix. I'm happy to see that Remco is still in the mix. I think that Remco is – I'm interested to see his second week. But he is really great at catching back on right now, and that TT ability is showing through.
That's a great way to put it. Now, we haven't seen Carlos Rodriguez was up there for Ineos.
Mm-hmm.
Bernal was there for a
little bit.
Yeah, he got dropped.
Yeah.
3/4 the way or something like that.
So, okay. So are we all just
I mean, it's still those
is
4, but I don't think that. I think 2 of those 4. I think Remco and Primoz are not. They're battling for third. I think.
Tadej does rhyme with bad day.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
What was your? I was trying to think of this. What was your Tadej and hot day? Like
He doesn't like
He
hot
doesn't
days.
do hot days.
no, I know, but you had some rhyme. The win
I
with
don't
that.
know. It's
I'm
just
gonna
that
listen
my
to all of
brilliance
the
comes,
previous
My
podcasts.
brilliance comes in spurts.
Well, I think my piece on the whole thing is it's a long. There's still a week and a half or 2.5 weeks to go.
Yeah.
And my thought was when Vindigo, you could see that Tadej, his strengths are like his jumps.
Yeah.
And if you look going up to the Galibier, he, when he got into the hairpins,
Yeah.
he gunned it.
Yeah.
And he kept doing that over and over again. And that's when
This
Vindigo just pulled the pin. He's like, no, I can't do those surges. And then you see Vindigo over the top. He just started looking over his shoulder.
yeah.
It's like,
can
I'm not
pull
burning
me.
any more matches. You are,
Mm-hmm.
you can go ahead and have it. And if you think about it, could have been why chase him and do another time trial? Because he's got weeks to go. I mean, anything you burn the first week is
Yeah.
less matches that you're going to have in the third.
And
third week,
Tadej has a tendency to do this in the first week. He gets excited.
Mm-hmm.
He's winning stages and things like that.
See, that's what I thought would happen in the Giro, though.
Yeah.
We saw him do it, and then we saw him kind of just ride tempo the next 2 weeks, which is really interesting.
Inflict the damage
500
early.
watts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right, his easy tempo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was the first day that I've ever seen Jonas's head drop.
Yeah.
In the 3 tours, he reached the top of that climb, and he was done.
Yeah.
And at the finish, I saw side-by-side photos. Tadej was, he won the stage, and he had that enthusiasm. He had that pounding in the chest. Jonas came across the line. By the way, he wasn't able to sprint even, and he looked a little defeated, which bummed me
Yeah,
out,
and it
out a little bit.
Yeah, and it shows the respect that Tadej has for Jonas because he didn't celebrate until after he had crossed that line.
Yes.
My wife was even saying, "Why is he sprinting? There's no one behind him." I was like,
Every second.
Because
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
But the difference, I would say, between previous years and this year for Tadej in particular, because I do agree with you entirely that he does do this where he is really explosive, wasting a bunch of energy. The difference is, have you ever seen him crack a gap like that against Jonas?
No.
That, I mean, like, he was going up the climb, and like you were saying, on those hairpins, he's like, attack again. Like, Jonas would just set a diesel pace, and he's like, you keep going, buddy. I'll do this.
That's what I thought when that attack first went, because Jonas was closing it.
Right.
He was in the saddle. He was closing it, and then Tade went again.
Exactly.
And that's where it started to break. And that descent, by the way, I don't know about you guys, but I don't need coffee anymore if I can watch that descent every morning. That scared the shit out of me.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
love to
beautiful,
tackle that one.
but it was just, oh my God. And then you see a wet patch, you're like, oh no. Oh, okay, they're fine. You know, and all the old timers are saying, you know, the bikes are different and they can't descend like they used to. I'm like going, bullshit.
Yeah.
And
Who said that?
Well, some of the old timers on social media. You know,
What?
They
talking
descend
about,
like bats out of
Jonas
hell.
was going 60 miles an hour.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was
Dude,
stupid.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Moving on, a lot of talk about Mark Cavendish and the quest for the record. Paul showed me, thank God it was after dinner this weekend at the race. He showed me the puke video of Cavendish. I mean, his ailments on day was that one?
Yeah. It was heat
were
exhaustion.
legit.
Yeah.
This was not, oh, poor little prima donna. He was going into a hairpin turn and he puked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't stage that.
No. But also, if you listen to, like, I mean, I think that the best insight in this, just because previous teammates, would be another podcast.
Yeah.
Garen Thomas.
Yeah. No,
Okay,
God.
cool.
Yeah.
There are other podcasts. We just don't
Really?
mention one of them.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
these guys were talking about, you know, like,
We
this
don't.
is not, it's not uncommon for him to have really bad days and, like, then recover from them, right? Like, I still do. I honestly don't actually. I have not looked at all the profile of the stages.
Yeah,
but
I haven't enough either.
I think that there is going to be a day in which he's going to throw all the eggs in a basket. Whether or not it just eliminates him from the rest of the tour and he has to drop out the next day, he's going to just throw it all into one basket. I think he's just pacing himself like, I'm going to make the cutoff. I'm going to make the cutoff. I'm going to make the cutoff. I'm going for the sprint.
Will it happen?
I believe it. I still.
Sam believes it'll happen. Jackson?
I am seeing the caliber of sprinters at this race, and if Jasper Philipsen can't even get close, what's going to say Mark Cavendish is going to?
Yeah.
His chances possibly tomorrow. There's they start off downhill, and then it's a bigger. I mean, they gain elevation, but the average percentage is 2.7%.
Okay.
It's not even categorized as a climb. Mm-hmm. Then they have 4 category 4s, but a long kind of semi-flat. But I don't know if there's winds or not. So there's a potential, but that also kind of opens up the door for breakaways too, because there's people already like half hour down, right?
Yeah.
You know, so but then the following day is pretty flat, and then the TT. So I think in the next 2 days you're going to see some sprinters. They'll try, and I think some of the teams are going to try and keep the break tight. So.
How many of you guys ever growing up thought like I could sit in the tour? Like, I couldn't finish the tour, but I could sit in the tour, right? Like I
dreamt of it, and there was
Totally.
a John Tesh soundtrack in the background.
Yeah. And it's not
On
that
your
I
rollers.
actually like could be like, it wasn't like I was just shoo-shooing it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I knew it was a big deal, but I'm like, yeah, it's like, if you think about what they're going through right now, David put this so like great because, you know, he's done with his residency, so now he's just going to ride much bikes. And he went on and he's like, I'm going to ride as many, you know, miles as the tour. And he goes out and he rides 20 miles less, half the elevation gain, and averages far less speed, far less watts than anyone in that field. Mm-hmm. And it's like, the fact that Mark is at the age that he is at and he is completing this is fucking bananas.
Yeah.
It is bananas. Like, I have such massive respect for anyone. I mean, like, anyone that's doing it, I tip my hat. But also, like, the fact that older crew that is still in this, that's wild.
Let alone the wherewithal, the tactical skills, the extreme burst of wattage you've got to have to be able to even come close in the final K of some of these races.
Well, to extend what Sam was talking about, God, it must have been like 2018 or 17. I can't remember. I think it was in the Tour, and they went over this pass, and Cavendish was suffering, and just trying to. He was in the
Gruppetto.
He wasn't in the Gruppetto. He was just trying to stay above it. I mean, it was a fast stage.
He's puking in corners.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But everybody's like, yeah, he can't climb. And the next day, I don't know, one of the announcers said his average speed up that climb was faster. They had an amateur race like 2 weeks prior to it.
Yeah.
Slaughtered it. Like the top amateur racers over there. I mean, slaughtered it, and he's off the back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that just puts things in perspective. It's like you have no idea. You
And
think he's slow? If he did hills with us, we'd be going,
Destroy.
Jesus, he can climb.
Yeah.
that guy could be in the
Yeah.
tour.
Yeah.
So that just puts, you think of Tade and Vindigo, and you're like, it's out of this
It's
world.
bananas, and it's just one of those things. Like I admit to my like total lack of knowledge or understanding of it up until like more recently, and just thinking like, fuck, these guys are incredible.
Yeah.
The fact that they're doing this is absolutely insane, day after day.
Yeah.
Who races that and wakes up like, oh, let's do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were in charge of Visma Lease Bike, what would your grand tactic be at this point in time?
Jonas, hold on. Wow, get the green.
I'm sure they have certain stages. This is my take. I think nowadays everybody has certain stages where they have an intention to gain time or run tactics. And a lot of that's been revealed, too, for the series on Netflix for Unchained.
Yeah.
You can see our goal is, and even if it's EF, was their whole goal on that particular day is for Carapaz to get yellow.
Yeah.
And the whole team is in. So if, in just like stage 11, what was it, 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then it was Jumbo back then, but
Yeah.
Visma and Lisa Bike. That was a grand plan, and they played it, and that's, there you roll the dice. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I think we're going to see some like there's some major stages that teams have an idea what they're going to do, and things are going to change. I mean, that leaderboard is just going to be all over the place.
Yeah.
So
I guess I get to the point where I understand that if you've got a rider in 8th place, you want to keep your rider in 8th place. But I wish I wish the 8th place rider was like I'm either winning
Podium
the
or
tour.
bust.
I'm either going for this or I am blowing up. Where you can hear me in Germany. I just wish they could do that. But I understand that there are massive budgets on the line. By the way, I have loved. Yes, it's been a little bit melodramatic, the Unchained series, and it's been edited to show more of the drama for a general audience. But I love the behind the scenes moments where especially, I'm watching it with my wife where we're talking about the money involved and the sponsors involved and the pressure involved and the fact that an 8th place by Enric Mas or for the last several weeks, several stages, nobody's noticing that Movistar has been wearing the yellow helmets because they're the top ranked team, which is something that you can go home with and please a sponsor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though we, especially as an American audience, don't know that and don't see those things, so it's just
Movistar has a history of always winning the team competition. Yeah, they have a great record, but they're not in the lead now. It's UAE.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean that was just
Yeah.
Yeah, but
This is
still,
blowout.
nevertheless, whatever it takes. And I'm going to throw this back to multi-categories racing locally. The tours that all the time. People are like, what's Tade letting that breaks up, like 8 minutes. Well, everybody in that break
is
a half hour down.
yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
And then there's people like, well, all that you've got a race within the race. You got sprinters sprinting for intermediate points, and that's how complicated that. It's just not. When you get somebody that's never seen the tour before, and they just think you just ride out front and win. It's so complicated, and you are dealing with. Well, let's use. I know that Appleson is going to want to get more green points, so at this section it's flat. Let's watch them. Let's use them for shelter or whatever, and maybe get a split in the crosswinds because that's what I mean. You do that even to get a GC. You're using other teams with other, goals, and so I think that's the cool thing about bike racing.
And
a
that,
lot of stories within the story.
yeah. And that the average viewer doesn't necessarily know that, but that's okay. It still makes it a dynamic event to spectate.
Yeah.
Which kind of brings me to the coverage.
Here we go. Here we go.
There have been.
GCN.
I'm gonna start this out by saying that there have been quite a few negative reviews on the Peacock coverage. I myself was watching the Peacock coverage this morning. I did not wake up at the crack of dawn's ass to watch it live. I turned on Peacock. I was only able to rewind so far. It only allows you maybe a third of the event to rewind, whereas it used to be start from beginning. And I don't know the technical elements behind this. So as a neutral viewer, I'm watching it gave me back at 70K to go. Great. So I'm watching it. And as I'm watching it, I'm watching Tadej on the descent. And because the live coverage ended, it kicked me out.
Yep.
And I was a little disappointed.
Peacock did that?
Yeah,
What
Peacock
time
did
you
that
wake
to me
up?
today. I got up today at about 7:30.
It must be nice to be a teacher.
It is nice being a teacher. Ask me again in November.
Yeah.
And so because they kicked me out, I fired up NordVPN and I put it on my phone and I logged in as a Canadian in NordVPN and I went to Flowbikes because I knew the event was over, so I wouldn't get this flash screen of, the top 3 finishers or something like that, and I could rewind almost to the entire beginning of the event because they had the Eurosport feed.
Great movie.
Yeah, Eurovision. I haven't seen it. Really?
It's a great movie.
I'll put that on my list. And it is just it's a bit of a roulette when you go on to that because you're worried about seeing spoilers. Unless you're like Paul and you're waking up at 4:00 in the morning.
Who are the announcers?
On Peacock?
No.
And it's Nicholas Roach and can't remember what the other.
Is it
guy's
Carlton
name.
Reed?
Yeah,
I think it's Carlton
I think
Reed.
it's Carlton Reed.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
I could deal with. Yeah.
And somebody said it really well on a social media post today where they had stated that Phil and Bob and all those guys, they've got so many people. They got TJ Van Garderen, they got Brent Bookwalter, they've got a great lineup of hosts. It's just that I don't know if the energy's not there. Phil is obsessed with TJ Van Garderen right now. He's just like, he's got a heart on for TJ and he keeps asking him questions. And I think TJ's just like going, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And he hates Bob. It's like he just like, yeah.
But, and I
It's horrible.
Phil is a legend. Phil is a fucking legend. And I fell in love with bike racing with Phil's voice as a kid. And so I don't want to go too hard. But somebody said it best where they were like, I miss the stories where Robbie McEwen's talking about a pasta bar in this specific town and this story of Tom Dumoulin taking a shit or something like that. And I think that insight is missing, and the overly enthusiastic moments when Tadej attacks is left into the hands of Phil, and Phil might not have the wherewithal to provide that energy.
My personal opinion, the difference that I see, and correct me if I'm wrong, between him and every other announcer on the planet is the fact that he never raced a bicycle. He was a news journalist.
And a race promoter.
Was a race promoter.
Promoted the milk race.
Don't care.
And he is it was an authentic or a hardcore cyclist. He always rode.
Yeah.
Still don't care. He
Phil's-
did not race at that level.
Phil's
Bob-
legit. Phil knows
No,
his
he
shit.
is legit. I'm not saying that he doesn't know his stuff, but he doesn't have that insider's view of this is what it's like being at that pro level. Which
How
is
many beers
what
have you had?
I've had enough to.
Okay,
like,
no, because I just need to know if I can unleash on you right
You
now.
can. I'll unleash back. Probably.
Because you son of a bitch.
I
do
have
not
respect for my
ever
elders.
Bash the broadcaster, the person with the broadcasting background,
This feels
the person who
personal.
knows what they're effing doing, who knows how to narrate an event, who's learned the ins and the outs, who learns how to speak and generate enthusiasm through their voice, even though they might not feeling it at that perfect fucking time. Do not bash broadcasters.
I'm not.
You do not have to be an ex-pro with CTE to be able to commentate on events.
No, because I would agree that there are some ex-pros that are
Sorry,
not the
what
best
happened?
commentators. But
Yes.
I do believe that does add an extra element in what I want to hear about.
Yeah.
You know?
I
And filling that gap as opposed to hearing about the Chateau de la Baguette.
But they have to.
Like, I don't fucking care.
That's
Yeah,
part
but
of
that's
it.
part
That's
of it.
required.
That's,
I know.
that's
That's
required. They have it's a prep.
It's
reading
probably a
that they
But
have
what
to
you do
shit.
is you do that.
I'm worked up right now.
You do that
I need
prep
another
read.
beer.
You do that prep read. You do that advertising copy read that you have to do because of French tourism is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
major
yeah.
sponsorship of all
Exactly.
this. You do that, but then you cut to Robbie McEwen, who provides a funny story about the last time he was there, and he and a buddy went out and had a McDonald's hamburger or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. There's something there.
peeling
There's that
back the
engaging
curtain
element.
as
Yeah.
opposed to seeing these guys on a bike. And
I miss Rob Hatch.
Do you?
The guy, the main
Rob
commentator
Hatch is
for the
very good.
Giro,
Yeah.
the guy who knows how to pronounce every.
Who can do the whole damn thing by himself?
He does a lot of races
Mm-hmm.
by himself, and you can put any word in front of him, and he can have perfect pronunciation, no matter the word. I think that's what we're missing. I think that I don't watch Peacock because I have to watch commercials. So
Yeah,
I
that's
go on
another
Flow
thing.
Bikes.
It's like FU Peacock.
Yeah.
There are commercials.
But I mean, you can pay for a better version, but I get
No, but
commercials.
you still have to pay for commercials.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that
Yeah,
even if you
yeah.
unlock everything, I've done that.
Mine is unlocked, and all I get is a blank screen. I get
literally,
the
they cut completely.
I get
out.
the Peacock logo,
Yes.
and I have to fast forward. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow.
Oh,
And then when I watch,
maybe my anger is misled. Maybe
No.
it shouldn't be towards Phil and it should just be Peacock.
this
Yeah,
is
there you go.
broadcasting services.
Yeah.
Because when I watch Flow Bikes, I will say that I also am a little bored. I think that Nico Roche is good, but he's not great.
No, I agree.
I think that our other commentator,
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know if it's Carlton Kirby or who it is, but anyways, he just doesn't have the same fervor.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
same like bravado that Rob Hatch does. He brings, and he will interrupt. He does not care how much you've achieved. He will interrupt anybody.
Yeah.
Just for the race. And I think that's somebody that needs to be
If I
on
don't
the
get-
biggest tour of the entire year.
If I don't get to hear
I'm a little
Sean Kelly
disappointed.
say
If
the
I
word
don't
30,
hear Sean Kelly.
say 30.
yeah.
30.
Yeah.
When
Torty.
we used to
Torty.
do it as a 30 miles an hour.
Torty.
30 miles.
Yeah.
I trained for 30 miles. man.
30.
30.
30.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rob Hatch is on the actual European, the Eurosport feed. So the commentator, there's so many English speaking guys that are going
I
out.
just want the
So
GCN
Steve-
crew.
Matt Stevens is
I miss
part
Matt.
of that also.
Matt's
Yeah.
great. Matt's a great
and
insight.
so that we don't
He
get
knows his
that
shit.
feed, but that would have been our feed through GCN Plus.
Yeah.
It would have been. And that's what I miss. Which, GCN's doing their stuff, trying to get back into it.
I
but
hope they can achieve
GCN's going to become a YouTube channel, and that's fine. That is 100% fine. And that's
It's not fine. I'm
Yeah,
mad at them.
because they gave us the taste of the good stuff.
I know. I would have
Yeah,
paid
they
them
did.
more.
Yeah.
And that was out of their control, though.
Yeah.
They sold their soul to the devil.
Mhm.
Discovery Plus.
I need more beer.
How are we doing on time? We're at 105. So, what advice would you give? My advice to Peacock would be to let Bob roll off the leash. Let him go. Bob's a funny dude. Bob knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Don't Americanize Bob anymore. Let him go.
Yeah.
And I it's kind of like
Hey, you interviewed him.
I did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
get some.
It's kind of like it's kind of like American politics too. At a certain point in time, you got to get the old man out of the picture.
You know what
Yes.
I say? Clean house.
Yeah.
I think there is not a single good one. Yeah, Paul's doing the face right now of what the hell is going on.
You're talking about the Peacock.
Oh, I'm talking about Peacock.
Okay.
Clean house. Not a single one of them is good.
I agree.
Honestly,
TJ's new this year.
None of them
Bookhalter's
are
new
good
this
enough.
year.
honestly,
Perino, keep Perino, get him out of a car way off course, get Perino back on the moto, in my opinion.
I think, no, all of them.
Wow.
All of them need to
Start
be done.
over.
Wow.
Because it's so boring. They make it so boring. When we lost,
You think it's the suits?
wait, what's his name? This is so disrespectful, but it was Phil and Paul.
Oh, if you
Paul-
say
Paul Sherwin.
Paul Sherwin. When
He
we
was
lo-
the
God
best.
rest his soul.
Yes.
He was a legend.
When we lost that dynamic, I think we lost the quality of American commentators
I agree.
on.
So in other words,
professional
it
cycling.
became American.
It became so American to a point where it was just like, it doesn't feel authentic. You know when you watch a soccer game and you hear that British announcer
Yeah.
with just that oomph in their voice, that's what we're missing. We have Phil, who's great. He has that in him, but he's not sharp enough anymore.
And he doesn't have
when
anybody
it
to
was-
bounce off.
Exactly.
When
And
it
so
was
now,
Paul and Phil.
yes,
You're right.
yeah, exactly. Bob he doesn't have that. It's like two heads fighting against each other, and that's what we need. We need somebody who can just flow with each other really
Okay,
well.
I'm going to say it. I'm going to bring it up. The
Do it.
rumors online about you look at the Peacock page, and there is a certain former disgraced professional cyclist
Oh.
who's
No.
let me finish. Who has a live? I guess he does this thing called a podcast.
I'm out.
and they are his episodes are on Peacock. What would you do if that particular voice became a part of the Peacock lineup?
I would end my subscription instantly, and I'd start sending them hate mail.
You'd cyberbully him.
I would cyberbully.
You'd be okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually came across a couple of his, like, on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the Move, what they call it, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's crap. I'm not saying that, it's a hard job to, as you know, host a podcast, but I hate his voice. It's just grinding and he, I don't know
By
whether
the
he
way,
plays.
I'm setting it out there 100% that this show can be a 1,000,000% anti-Lance, and I am cool with that.
Yeah,
The people
I
who
don't-
follow Lance don't need to. You can listen if you want to get mad at us, because I'm not a fan.
I'm not. I just don't. Even outside, even if I try to put myself, I don't have a deep hatred for the guy, but I think he create a disgrace. And I kind of look at it like Bill Burr. It's like, why is everybody getting upset because our most roided out guy beats your most roided out guy? I mean, everybody was doing it. It was his line that really
bullying
bothered me.
and-
But
he's-
nevertheless, for
he's
me,
now making money off of the sport he
disgrace.
banned from.
Yeah.
So I don't. If he's involved, I will do I will.
Send
I
hate
will.
mail.
I will worship flow bikes. I will take back everything I have ever said about flow bikes.
I will pay for
I
flow
will
bikes.
publicly
if
apologize.
if
I paid
he-
for flow
yeah.
bikes.
So do I.
Yeah.
I pay for being here.
I think that what it would do is it would put a Band-Aid. It's essentially the problem where a dam begins to crack and you put a piece of duct tape on it.
Yeah.
The problem's not gonna go away.
Wait,
I think
change
that
the subject. I'm getting heated right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
The fact that they would even is that real?
It's there. I mean, I'm reading grumblings and mentions on the interwebs.
That makes me so mad.
what you need to make American cycling exciting and
He's got a huge following, dude.
but what I'm saying is entertaining is what they've done with American football. You have a very long experienced just commentator who's like the main play-by-play guy, and then you have a guy
and then the color.
a
commentator.
color commentator like Tony Romo. Tony Romo does a great job on those football games, I think.
He has that perspective.
And they flow together really well.
Yeah.
What you need here is you need a duo. You don't need one guy who's raced and another guy who's raced. Neither of them know how to do this shit.
Yeah.
You need somebody who can actually flow with each other. And I think if we
A
get
broadcaster, Sam.
but even like a broadcast,
No, I disagree.
but like a pro racer who maybe can talk with one another. Robbie McEwen, Dan Lloyd, those are the type of riders that can actually flow with
Absolutely.
other people. But now, oh great,
you know what
Lance.
they all wear? Bike racers.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying. Oh, Lance is going to have some.
Broadcasters. What a joke.
Lance is going to have some angry thing to say, and then
kill you in your sleep. I'm gonna kill you in your sleep.
But I think Lance is just going to have some anger to say, and Bob's going to be weird as hell. Like it's just never going to work.
Yeah.
And Phil loves Lance.
Yeah, he does.
Loves him.
Right now, he's got a big crush on.
Anyway,
TJ.
move on.
TJ.
Back to your point. Move on. Right.
Yeah,
Flush
it's just,
it.
Stop with this American
Yeah.
shit. Like we're
And-
great, we're a great country, but just
And you know
Cool it.
what? We need to stop dumbing down the American broadcast. Guess what? Peacock, with their subscription service, with their whatever they're doing, the fact it is. Let's be honest. To get to it, it's like finding the cool book in the back of the library. You have to find it. You are not an average viewer who is looking for bike racing coverage to watch the Tour de France. Unless you've happened to fallen upon Unchained, which means you're still kind of a weirdo who knows a bike rider.
yeah.
So stop dumbing it down and generalizing the broadcast for us. Get specific. Tell us the insides. Because you know what? 99.9% of your audience have shaved legs. Stop it. Stop dumbing it down. This is not a NASCAR audience. There's shit in NASCAR that I don't understand.
And the thing is, on a lot of these professional sports, you're not dumbing it down.
Yeah.
Like
Just stop
commentators don't dumb it down.
Yeah.
So might as well not for
There's
us.
some dipshit who's going to mansplain the entire event to whoever's watching, and just stop it. I'm okay. Yeah. Do we all agree? It sucks ass. And tomorrow I am firing up my NordVPN. Pat, hit number 5.
You're gonna have to be up before 7:30 for that.
I will. Maybe.
Or past 3:30. That's when I watch it. You don't see anything. Well, I work in
The afternoon.
mornings, and I'm a teacher.
You watch it
Oof.
in the afternoon?
I have to.
Rough.
I don't have time for it.
Did we ruin the entire stage for you?
No, I watched it before I came here.
Okay, good.
What a guy.
Should we get to our segments? Are we
Okay.
at segments already? Are we
Wow,
at
are we, like, on
segments
time?
already?
Wow.
We're doing pretty well.
Yeah,
Almost like
we're
there's a
pretty close.
broadcaster running
We're
this.
pretty close. Yeah, who'd have thought? Yeah,
Yeah.
all these
But he
pieces.
races bikes too.
Yeah,
See?
so I'm
Yeah, don't
both.
even put yourself in that
I'm
category.
the best of both worlds.
Well, I wouldn't go with the best. Sorry, that was too far.
No. I was thinking of something better. I was going to be like, I'm the best you've got of both worlds.
That's fair.
It's like, settle.
Yeah.
It's like, sure.
That's what you get.
I really had a crush on this person in high school, but you know what? This person paid for my dinner.
This person gave me free beer.
So I'll sleep with you.
Oh, that's great.
Let me get to where is Sam's post. Sam gets his first one. We're talking fit tips with Bike Fit Sam and Ambassador Cycling. Get fit to get fit, you guys. Get to ambassadorcycling.com today. This question comes from one of our listeners that says, and I quote, I bought a new road bike and am getting a fit done. 100% getting a fit done. This new bike is being built with the sole intention of races that consist of extra long hours in the saddle. Why? I am curious if physical therapy would be a good asset to help gain neck mobility and strength in hopes to ward off Schirmer's neck. You're going to have to help me what Schirmer's neck is. And what things could a person do to prepare for this possibility of the condition? So it's a fit question, but it's also dealing with how do I prepare myself for these inevitable strains and pains?
Yeah. So Schirmer's neck is where your neck
Is it the Batman neck?
flexors- Yeah,
It's Michael
No,
Keaton
no,
Batman
it's
where you
this.
just turn it. Oh, it's
this,
forward.
It's all the arrow.
Oh.
Yeah. It's where we're all super
many of
arrow.
us cyclists have.
Every
Okay.
cyclist. And it's not uncommon because, we're bent forward on a bike and then we have to look up. And if
Yeah.
you're spending an extended period of time, that's what you're going to get. It's basically hypertrophy of the neck extensor muscles, which is on the back of your neck. weakness of your cervical flexors, which is on the front of your neck.
You sound so cool right now.
I know a thing or two. I can pretend.
Two.
So to like that is going to be fixed. It's not going to be fixed with a bike fit because like if you are doing that activity, then you are going to develop asymmetries in your body. So I would say PT would be a very smart thing to do because what I do post rides is I do like it's a McKenzie protocol, and that's where you undo kind of what you have done. So cyclists notoriously get, as I already said about in your neck, right, tight extensors, loose flexors. That goes all the way down the body. It's tight hip flexors, it's all the way down. So you have to undo that, right? And that's more of a PT thing. Like bike fit isn't going to help that, but it will help reduce that. So you're not going to make it worse. But if you have that, definitely get in so we can work on making that better before it's to a point where it's like, oh yeah, your joints have like collapsed and we need to fuse you.
The thing that I've noticed about PT is it's not they're going to fix it in the office. They're going to diagnose, they're going to stretch, they're going to loosen. Then you got to go home and do the shit. So it's a strength training.
No, yeah, you nailed it. And that is absolutely what it is. We're adding to the quiver of, tools that you have for being able to, take care of yourself over a long period of time. Because as you continue to ride, this is always going to be an issue. What I think is daunting is you're like, oh, I'm going to have to do this the rest of my life. Well, kind of, but also it shouldn't be all of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be like, oh, my shoulder's a little bit flared up. I'm going to do some shoulder exercises, right? For me, it's like my back's a little bit flared up. I'm going to take care of my back. So it's one of those things that I think that it is, like you said, it's something that we are trying to, this is what your weakness is, and this is what you independently have to take care of on your own. Yeah. And I think that is a huge line to draw for PT because people come in thinking like, oh, well, you should just fix this, right? It's like, well, it actually takes a lot more of you than me for that. So, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, great question. But that neck disorder is specifically going to be more PT than bike fit. It is we can set you up so that you're going to reduce the risk of being further injured. But
so even if the condition doesn't exist, should they PT as a
precaution, or preventative,
okay,
absolutely, because it's going to basically just be like you're going to do chin tucks or whatever the other exercises are that we're going to give you to prevent like getting that. Yep.
Does it happen to a lot of people when they just sleep on a weird pillow?
Totally could. Yeah.
I'm just asking for a friend because this weekend I was like, oh my God, I know Dave told me not to do the ibuprofen, but I need some ibuprofen.
Where's my bottle of ibuprofen?
I slept wrong.
Yeah, that will happen.
I made a couple of mistakes that night too.
Did you?
Yeah, right in the middle of it. I wish I could have taken it back.
I do, yeah. I mean that will absolutely.
Those are the 9.9 beers, right?
Yeah. I slept in a horrible bed this weekend, and I'm still suffering from back pain from literally calves below hanging off the end of this bed. It was so short.
You ever get to the point where you know you probably drank too much the night before when you wake up and you got like a mark on your cheek because you haven't moved in 12 hours?
Every Wednesday morning.
Okay. Right on.
Right after the show.
Right after the show.
Glad to know it's not just me. Does anybody have any prefer if they want to go next?
Taylor's choice.
And is next, which means it's happens to be changing times with the one and only Paul Main. I'm anxious to hear this one. I just asked you on the ride.
Yeah.
You got something? You're like, oh yeah, I got something.
I got some. Yeah.
What do you got for us?
Well, this weekend kind of brought back, doing the Everett, and I talked to a couple of guys that raced over there, and it made me think about how unique this sport is. That here at my age, that these group of guys that are extremely strong, and we still have the same feeling that we did when we started when we were 20, the excitement of racing and stuff. I don't think there's any other sport out there that allows you to continue on like this. Yeah, there's a bit of danger, and
Golf.
and it's like some of my decision for not racing the next day was I'm following the forecast, and it's like 48% chance of rain. I'm like, listen, I'm not going to race in the rain. I don't bounce like I used to. I stick the landing, when I crash. It's just, my skin sticks, and then I just snap that. And so, and I was sitting there thinking about it.
It's like tearing a piece of aluminum foil.
Yeah.
Well, that's gone.
It's about that thin, my skin is now. And then, everything, even when I wake up, everything just comes back and haunts you. But, I think it was great. There's a guy named Ron who won our race, and he won Tour de Bloom. Drink.
Yeah.
And he won the crit at RC3, and his teammate AC was there, and this other guy who's heading down to nationals. I mean, all these people that I have total respect for. I think they're great riders. And some of my decision when I looked at the forecast and I thought, do I open up one more 9.9% beer or what? And it says 48%. I'm like, nope, because one of the top riders in the Pacific Northwest in our age group, did Baker City in the crit. He was heading down to nationals. He's got his tickets. He's got everything.
Yeah.
He's doing national gravel. Crashed and broke his collarbone. So I'm like, listen, I'm not going to slide away, and it may not even be me.
This year?
No, I'm not. I'm not going to do it this year. No, I won't go back to Augusta, Georgia for the rest of my life.
It's in Augusta again?
It's in Augusta again? Dang.
Yep. So.
How about this side of that?
But that's fine. To me, I don't mind when because to me, courses, that's what I'm looking forward to Everett next year, is that I saw that course and I saw how it's raced, and that's just one more thing you build up on, and that confidence. And so I don't mind if Masters does that, but that was not my scene, Augusta, Georgia.
I like your I've got to find just a taste of your optimistic mentality towards the sport, where you're like going, okay, I saw this course, I want more, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
I'm doing this, man. I'm doing this. Me, I saw the course. It was horrible, and nobody should ever do this again. I'm taking my bike and throwing it in a dumpster.
Well, I mean, you could take even that.
I'm not this fucked up. I just want everybody to know it's a bit for the show.
Totally.
I can't make eye contact with any of you.
I know you can't. He's looking at his shoes.
Yeah.
Hey, but to me, that crit course was less scary than Tour de Bloom. It was very similar. Same 3 and 4 corner, except we didn't have cobblestone.
Yeah.
It was a little narrower, and same with Tour de Bloom. It narrows down, and you have to almost go single file through there. But you don't have a hill at the top, right? You take a turn and go up the hill like in Everett. So, I mean, just getting back to my point, I think what an unusual sport. I could do this until I'm 6 feet under.
Yeah.
Gosh, until Stu.
Good representation. Good representation in the age groups.
Yeah, absolutely. They're class acts.
Mine was just 50 plus, and we had
a lot of people.
40 guys plus 40 guys, which sounds tiny when you're thinking about the grand scheme of things. I remember doing 150 person crits back in the day, but 40 to 45 riders all over the age of 50. Cat 1, 2, 3s, 4s. It's pretty cool.
Well, and I had one more thing to add about this whole topic. Is what was cool. So Chris, who won our road race at RC3, he got second in the crit on Saturday. He's heading down to nationals. He's 65. He hasn't raced for quite some time, and he just thought, well, I'm going to start racing, and he just is on top of it. AC is another guy over there that was like, I used to race and just start,
they're coming back to it.
Yeah. So no other sport allows you to do that either. I mean, you just hop right in and it's the same, although our speed, well, other than Saturdays, was not slow, but typically a little bit slower. But these guys, you can tell by the way they race, they're seasoned veterans. They know how to we're still on top of our game, but a little bit slower.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great sport.
Do you think that's going to change for you? Like, if it's 70, do you think you'd still race a crit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
he will.
I will.
Paul will die with a
Not
top,
in the rain.
with a top tube between his legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in the rain though.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
at the point where, I mean, in a stage race, I will.
Yeah.
I will do it in a stage race. But if it's just a crit series and Omnium where I can pull out, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I can pick and choose. But
I
a
was
stage
just
race, I have
curious.
to go through. Yeah.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Last but not least, we got style points with the one and only Jackson Bulger. I love these because they haven't just become about fashion; they're above and beyond.
You know, funny you say that because this is not necessarily about fashion at all.
It's not hip and cool and sexy to weave your bars while you sprint.
No, it's really, really freaky. I faced that head on. I want to talk about music and what type of music you listen to, because I think that music is a part of it, and I think that style is such a broad word. What type of music does everybody like? Sam, what type of music do you like?
Now, what's the setting? What's
In what context?
What we're talking about now. So pre-race music.
Oh,
Where are we going? Because I was going to say, what type of music do you like? And then what type of music do you like to listen to before races?
Oh,
I listen to a very broad spectrum. Sans country. God, fucking country.
now you're talking. There are different types of country.
I know there are.
Yeah, modern
Here we
day kind
Modern
of pop country.
day pop country is my least favorite thing. Granted, there's a new catchy song that's out there. I'm not going to name it. Anyway, I will say that across the board, I actually listen to like some weird like Requiem for a Dream, I think is what it's called. The Requiem.
It's a movie. But
No, I know, but it's also a
soundtrack.
song.
Yeah,
Soundtrack. Yeah.
Soundtrack, yeah.
Like that type of piano.
Oh, like
I
you're
am
classical.
Like, oh yeah,
Oh, the
I'm like
Requiem,
classical, like get
yeah.
into a rhythm. I am like chill out and just like,
Oh, really?
oh yeah, I get into like kind of this like trance state, and then I'm like, let's rip some fucking legs off. Yeah, that's me.
Interesting.
Paul?
Okay. Paul?
My primary I listen to is jazz, but I do not like it for prep for a race.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's for chill or even
You're a
uplifting
deadhead,
stuff.
huh?
No, I hate the dead. I'll listen to some 90s, like alternative, like Allison in Chains.
Oh, nice.
Stuff like that. System of a Down. Limp Bizkit even.
No.
Oh, just because of the rhythm
energy.
stuff. Yeah, not
you
very
just-
often. I have to be in the
You
mood
just
for those.
did it for the nookie.
Yeah, for the nookie.
Yeah.
But some of those things that that's kind of kind of energizes me. But some of it is kind of electronic, kind of bizarre stuff. I can name some. I designed this one channel. It's called Immaculate Crucifixion, and it's it's just various stuff like solar fields, and it's kind of like not really in your face. It's just kind of
Trancy.
No, it's not really trans. It's hard to explain, but I know Jack Broadhead knows what I'm talking about.
Okay.
'cause we shared a couple-
We will get a random text about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I listen to anything that's a band. Guitar, bass, drums, stuff like that.
Nirvana.
Well, sure. Everything. I listen to a lot of early alternative. I listen to my mellower stuff. I listen to kind of. I really like the Finn brothers out of Australia, and they were Crowded House. They were Split Enz, stuff like that. I like that kind of music.
What was the early alternative in like the 30s?
You're.
Did you miss me?
I've been nice to you for so long.
I know, because I was
just-
gone for a little while.
I gotta.
But I'm back.
I felt sorry for you last week, and then I'm a punk fan. But you know what? I was thinking about this. That I don't listen to music before a race anymore. I used to do it. I used to get in my 1974 VW Bug, pop in a tape, and listen to that before I started a race to get psyched up. And I don't do that anymore. Maybe that's my problem.
Maybe. Yeah. To answer my own question,
Mellower stuff.
I listen to a lot of different types of music. So,
Yeah.
I do like certain rappers. Like I like Jack Harlow a lot. He's probably my favorite. We don't talk about Drake anymore, if you know the weird stuff that's gone on with that scenario. But there are some songs out there that I don't mind. J. Cole, some of those. I even, and this isn't necessarily like a pre-race artist, but I've really gotten into like Maggie Rogers lately, who's another, I would say, alternative.
Yeah.
Old
something.
T Swift.
Sometimes Taylor Swift will be in there.
Her new album is really good.
Yeah, I have a lot of, I like different types of music. I think Post Malone's new country stuff is really fun. I even do kind of like some Morgan Wallen songs. I just think the gambit is really fun. But before race, I am predominantly like
Eminem.
No, I don't listen to Eminem very much. I do
Mom
like
spaghetti.
Yeah, like that artist I mentioned before, Jack Harlow. I like there's a Kendrick Lamar song that I really like. It's just certain type of, I like hard hitting, like when artists hit certain beats with and like match it with their lyrics at the same time. I think that kind of gets me in a certain headspace. And I also kind of like certain lyrics that are like I'm better than other people, because then it makes me feel like, oh, I'm better than these other people as well.
You should listen to The Man by Aloe Black.
Well, I think you've even showed it to us. But those, I think that
New anthem.
I think that music, it's interesting because I think that music describes the person and their style. So I think that every single person, the way that I look at you and the way that you
1000%.
act, your music kind of surrounds that. And I think that music is also a really big indicator of like how you can get yourself into a certain zone when it goes into a race. I think that music has a lot of like mental like effects on us.
Mm-hmm.
So I just found I thought it would be an interesting question to hear what other people do before races as a routine with their music setup, because I consider it sacred is such a dramatic word, but I do consider it a sacred part of my pre-race routine.
And you see a lot of pros with big ass headphones on.
Yeah.
Before and after races, using their individual playlists. And I've always thought it'd be really interesting to just receive playlists from individuals, because it describes who you are. It's like a postcard about who you are. And it's such an interesting thing. And before I forget, Joe Jackson's "I'm the Man" is better than any any song called
I'll listen
"The
to that.
Man." Joe Jackson, "I'm the Man."
All right.
Yeah. It's old, but it's cool. It's very
I'm going to
cool.
listen to it.
Yeah. I mean, music, and by the way, I think I would warm up to Foo Fighters, but just because that's just always been my band.
I want to see you rocking out in your car, and then I'm going to be like, he's going to win tonight.
I'm going to start doing it now. I think that's what I'm missing.
I
That's
think
the
that's
only
it.
thing.
That's it.
It's not the fitness.
No, it has nothing to do with that or AFib
it's
or
not
anything
the little.
else.
It's not the little belly fat that I got to
It
get
has
rid of.
nothing to do with any of that.
I saw a picture of me in my jersey.
Did
and
you get self-conscious?
Well, I saw my belly button,
yeah.
and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's an innie.
But a
That's
wide one
good.
at the top.
It
You know
was
what's
just
good
like-
about those? The really deep innies when you're fat?
Yeah.
You can sit there with your shirt off, put like nacho dip in there, and watch TV and just scoop. It's just like a dip holder.
I'm not talking that big.
Oh,
I'm talking.
okay,
It's like
sorry.
it's like if my stomach was an olive, the my belly button would hold a pimento.
It's gold.
Sometimes you think sitting there thinking, "Where's the cat?"
Oh yeah.
Oh, there he is. Jesus,
It's covered
how
in
long you been-
lint. Oh,
I didn't know I owned a cat.
Sorry, Patches.
Yeah.
Thought you left 2 years ago.
Jesus.
Welcome
But
back,
you're
little
starving.
friend.
Oh wait, a lot of food falls down
Yeah,
in
ate
there.
some
probably.
food.
I've been feeding you for years.
All right, final question of the show, the final K, and I'm going to do it to the timer. So we've only got a minute and 19 from the second I asked the question. Ready?
Yes,
Never.
yes.
Gentlemen, how do you wash your cycling clothing? Jackson,
On delicate.
that's it?
Well,
Do you dry?
No, you're not supposed to. It says it on the. It
Yeah,
says it on the
hang
clothes.
dry.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an issue, Sam.
Even the socks, I hang dry the socks.
I don't do delicate or anything. It's still just normal wash, but it's cold.
Mm-hmm.
And it's with all the, as my mother likes to say, swishies. Which just like drives me crazy. They're
What are
athletic
swishies?
wear.
Oh,
So she
okay.
calls it all swishies.
I like that. Paul?
Delicate, cold water, hang dry.
Yep. I am regular wash, but cold water. I am hang dry. I don't hang dry my socks, though.
I do hang dry my socks.
Tumble dry my socks.
Because I used to have a pair of soccer socks. They were called True Socks. I dried them and they shrunk, and that sucked.
What?
Yep.
Are you and I a lot alike?
No.
I hope that's not true for you.
Take that back.
Yeah.
Take that back.
A couple of Clydesdales.
Disgusting.
Normal wash. On cold.
And if it shrinks, you can just
It's
see
compression.
the Buddha. You can see the Buddha better.
It's arrow.
That brings us to the end of another Packfiller podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe, as it truly helps us boost our power. Drop a review on your favorite podcasting platform. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pat.